Juicy Co-Creators, Lilu here from beautiful, delicious, sunny California with Dr. Farmer. How are you?
Good, Lilo. Thanks.
It's awesome. What a beautiful beach.
You can't go wrong with this. You know, if you look around, it's just an amazing beach, one of the best in Southern California, I think.
What's the name?
Three Arch Bay. It's Three Arch Bay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
And a beautiful place to talk about nature and the animals.
And I noticed there's a boat in the background. I don't know if you can see it, but that's chasing dolphins now. They're trying to find dolphins.
Okay.
It's a boat that goes out of Dana Point.
Oh, to swim with them.
If we're
Huh?
lucky, we might see some dolphins in the background. So if you spot some dolphins, let us know, okay?
But still listen to this conversation because it might be really handy. I just flew in yesterday from Orlando, always looking after the next inspirational message. And I know you're working on some new things. Last time we spoke of spirit animals. What are the different books that you wrote? There's oracle cards. There's all kind of thing. Yeah. But I want to talk about the Stephen Farmer, the new one, Awakening Up, and what he's working on. But tell us again the magic, Earth Magic. And
well, Earth Magic came out about a year and a half ago, plus the Earth Magic oracle cards. And then, as I mentioned, and people can go to my website to find more, but children's spirit animal cards for children, children's products I've been called to do, and there's also a CD with children's spirit animal stories. And what I'm working on, and I've been working on for a year, is a book proposal, and I'm about to finish it and submit it, on healing ancestral karma. And it's basically about mending unhealthy family patterns that have shown up in previous generations, of which we may carry some of that still. Most likely we do carry that karma. And karma in this sense means something that is both genetically programmed, is not the best word, but that's close. It's genetically programmed, but it's also in our DNA, it's also a soul patterning. And the idea of the book is, first off, to encourage people to connect with ancestors. We don't do that a lot in our Western culture. You know, grandma and grandpa. Yeah, that's pretty much. We don't even think of them as ancestors. So we're talking about both the ancestors of this land that may not be in our lineage, but the ancestors certainly in our lineage, and also of other geographies, other lands. I have a friend, a shamanic colleague, who's very, very strongly connected to Africa, and some of her teachers' ancestral lineage in Africa, for instance.
Are we also talking of animals too? Animals ancestors? We
are in certain indigenous, well, first off, many cultures throughout the world deal with ancestors in some way. I've been in the Middle East, and there's altars to ancestors. Certainly I've been in Australia and Hawaii, and that's where the animals come in. The old Hawaiian spirituality, which is very similar to some of the original people of Australia that I've come in contact with, have a different way of looking at or thinking about ancestors. When you die, in the old Hawaiian spirituality, your soul goes to a land called Po. Po is a land where you hang out with the big gods and goddesses. The Akua is what they are. And after you've stayed there for a while, you develop mana. Power.
Yeah. Life force, power.
Yeah. And when you've acquired enough power, you then come back and express through the physical, or through some of the physical elements of the land, the animals particularly, and the plants, so that grandma may be coming back, and her lineage, the ancestral lineage, might be showing up as a certain flower or a certain animal. And when it's an animal, and you're connected to that lineage, that animal is your Amakua. Uh-huh. That's your guiding ancestral spirit. Pueo, owl. The story in Hawaii about Pueo, the Hawaiian owl, is that if it's your Amakua, they will help you and guide you. And I know a fella, his Amakua was Pueo, the owl, and he said late at night one time he was coming back from the far side of the island, and Pueo followed him all the way, as if he were guiding him. The other side of that is if you see Pueo in an unusual way, it portends a death. And it's not your power animal, your spirit animal. So that's how animals get connected. But that's also because they're the
Part
people
of us too, and it's all linked. Huh?
Yeah, the people have lived on the land, for their lineage goes back, sometimes thousands of years, particularly in Australia. So naturally, the spirit is part of the land, and the ancestral spirits are showing up through different animals and plants. It's a given. It's just we don't even think that way, but it's a given in these lands.
Come a little closer here, because I just want to make sure we get carried away. You're drawn to the ocean.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Ocean. This is where you live.
Oh yeah, and the ocean speaks to us. I've had the other experiences with animals and ancestors, especially previous generations, is a friend of mine who told me about her father had died, and that same day later on, after she attended the memorial, she was walking along the ocean, not this particular beach, walking along the ocean, and a lone dolphin was tracking her. Oh. And immediately she knew that it was a courier from her father, as if saying, honey, I'm okay. And birds will come, from deceased relatives. They will show up, and somebody will just know that that's my mom or my dad's either. Well, some people think it's mom or dad. I think it's a courier. It's like a messenger from the afterlife.
So there's no particular animals that represents that. It's a message from ancestors. It could be coming from any.
Right. For deceased loved ones, specifically deceased loved ones, often it's birds, but not always, like the friend with the dolphin. For what I was talking about with the indigenous people, it could be any particular animal. A friend of mine, Jeremy, his grandfather in Australia, of the Gukuyalanji tribe in northern Queensland, his father's, you could say Amakua, although that's Hawaiian, his father's ancestral spirit guide is a black cockatoo. And his experience and belief is he would not travel unless he got a sign from a black cockatoo, for instance, as if an ancestor was saying to him, okay, it's safe now, you can travel.
So I love how. So you're okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just a little tickle.
But so it's this communication. It's getting their messages. That's what we're talking about here. That's what you're talking in your book. Getting these messages and kind of working with the spirit, these ancestors through spirit, through those signs daily, instead of making those choices kind of unconsciously.
Right, that our ancestors want to help us in some way. That's the idea. They're with us. It's not something that's common to our culture, and I feel like I'm on a mission to make it more common, that we can, especially during these earth changes, the shifts that are going on in the earth and in our relatedness to the earth. These, unlike, let's say, archangels who've never walked on this land, have never really lived on this land, and yet still are valuable allies, spirit allies, the ancestors, those who've come before, have actually experienced being human. They've known the joys and the suffering of being human. Sometimes in a workshop, we'll call on what we call the grandmothers and grandfathers with a calling song. If I'll do a short version of it. Grandfathers, grandfathers, we are calling. Grandfathers, grandfathers, we are calling. Come, come, come. And then repeat that several times, and then we'll do the grandmothers. In fact, I think they just showed up here.
Yeah, I just felt it too.
Yeah, isn't that fun? Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, we're surrounded now.
Yeah, we are. I get chills, and that tells me either.
I felt it.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I wish we could. It's interesting.
It's okay, Lilo. I'll take over from here. No, and I say that as a demo.
You have a message, yeah.
I say that as a demo, but it really works. I get from my work in my meditations and shamanic journeys, they want to help us. The spirit animals want to help us. They know that we've been misaligned in our relationship with our incredible planet.
I feel they're embracing us. Like here right now, I feel the embrace. I feel like we're here. Yes. We're giving you our love, and you're not alone. And
very good. No, that's very good. That's often the feeling we get, and just the assurance that there are those spirit guides who have come before who have actually walked, have like we are, our feet on the ground here, our head in the sky, enjoying the sun, enjoying the variety and the incredible diversity of this wonderful planet. And yes, it's harshness too. Nature, in a sense, nature doesn't care, but that does not care.
Yeah.
Nature just is, and we got to get used to that. And again, appreciate what the gifts nature does give to us, the natural world does give to us.
Because we have also lived on this earth, maybe with some of these ancestors, maybe not. But we have our own karma, right? We have our own experience on earth.
Yes. In some systems, the belief is that we've had lives before. And I'm still working this one out. I'm wondering, okay, it's more of a question now than I can say with some definite statement. Maybe when we're talking about past lives, maybe, just maybe, it's a cellular connection to an ancestral spirit that has emerged into our consciousness in some way when we do a past life regression. And we call it past life regression. Maybe.
Interesting, yeah.
It's a different take on it.
It's an interesting thought, yeah.
Anyway, so I'm really big on encouraging people to connect with ancestors. There's in this book, there will be processes that people can do to connect with ancestors, and more importantly, to heal some of the life negative karma that's with them. I was writing about this in just yesterday about my father. My father was a hard worker. He really took good care of his family, and I must say that's something that's with me. And I can say with some pride, yeah, I'm a hard worker, and I do my best to take care of the people that I'm closest to in my family. On the other hand, one of the life negative traits and characteristics he carried with him is he went to his grave never thinking that he mattered, that he really affected other people. I confronted him one time about this, but I think he still never really, he just was kind of doing his thing and never felt. And I recognized that for many years I felt the same way about myself. It doesn't matter what I do. I don't really affect other people. And I believe that's cured now. I get it. Like the story I told you earlier about the tree roots. I don't know how many people I affect. I just do my work and do my service and let it go. And people will be affected however they're affected.
And when you release that for yourself, you kind of release it for your dad and other generations.
Very well stated. I couldn't say it better. And that's part of this. As one of my favorite, and the only one I really remember from the Course in Miracles statements is, when I am healed, I am not healed alone. And when we apply it to what we're talking about here, it's really true. As my descendants, I know, I've done these processes where I know that, say, my grandson, who's 8 years old now, will not have to carry, let's say, the legacy of what I just described. He will not have to carry some of the other elements that I've worked with to heal. And I'm extremely grateful for that, and to be guided to do this sort of work and to be able to offer it to other people as well.
And that gives extra courage to go through those hard patches too, and those things that are really there within us, and sometimes it comes back, it keeps on coming back and back again.
And that would be the main message I would want people. You can heal this stuff. You don't have to carry it with you, and you don't have to pass it along to the generations. Yeah, you too.
Yeah. Yeah, all of us. It's not for some kind of destined group or anything like that.
No, it's not fate. Fate has this, even the term fatalistic, that's the root word, fate. It's like this is what we got, this is what we're going through, and it doesn't matter what I do. No, I want to say, and that's part of what my desire is to empower people. You can heal. I was pretty messed up as a kid. As I look back on it, I go, my God. But I look at the layers and layers and layers that I've peeled off, both from the psychological work and in the last several years, the shamanic work, my particular spiritual path, how that's helped me clear a lot of stuff out of the way, and to recognize I'm an imperfect human being, but that's pretty darn perfect.
And it'll never be done. It's a journey, right?
Absolutely. It's not an end destination.
Yeah.
It's not you awaken. It's the awakening process. We go to sleep, we wake up. We go to sleep and we wake up again and again and again.
Because you traveled around the world, you did so many healings, all of that, and yet you're at this stage of you're still reinventing yourself. You still have to question and to call back spirit. And there's some of these days where you're not so connected too. I mean, we need to hear that because so many of us kind of are giving up sometimes, or have lived a certain peak, in this evolution, and then all of a sudden we maybe got back into a comfort zone, and it's time to feel it again. And
no, that's why I know that I think what we got to stop doing is idealizing spiritual teachers and of any sort. What's the old book that was out years ago in the 70s? If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. It's kind of harsh, but you don't want to kill him. But point being, I think in that, I never read the book, but I think the point is don't. You can look to I still look to teachers, of course. I look at teachers all around, the nature, other people, etc., yourself, listening, paying attention. I will always be open to teachings. I always will be. But this idea of trying to be perfect or ideal in some way for anyone, let alone spiritual teachers, like I said, I'm an imperfect human being, and if I step back, well, that's perfect. The paradox of that. And we keep on learning. I'm gonna learn and teach. I'm never going to retire. I know that. I don't see that in me. I'm a hard worker. I love the work that I do. I'm blessed to do it. And I go to sleep. Every so often I'll get forgetful or I'll get grumpy. Oh, was it just yesterday that happened? Or no, it's this morning. Yeah, I got kind of grumpy. And it's just like, it passes. The thing is, when we do this spiritual work, it doesn't hang on.
Somebody shows up, or a bird shows up.
Or a little niggle in the mind, or a spirit guide of some sort, or that voice, the inner voice goes, is this really that important? Jessica, my wife, and I, we're pretty good at getting past stuff. We go into, like any relationship, we'll go into some conflict or something, or she's in a bad mood, or I'm in a bad mood, but we don't hang on to those things. It's like, let's dive under that and see what we can do to clear it. Or grief. You lose something or someone. You lose someone precious to you. Are you going to grieve? Or are you going to do a spiritual bypass? No, I say if you're going to grieve, get on the floor, curl up into a ball, get the Kleenex nearby, and just let it go. Let it rip. And then when you're done, after a few minutes, get up and walk outside. Go look and get some fresh air. Go hug a tree. Do something to change it. But don't be afraid of that. I don't even want to say darker side of humanness, but if you're in
shadow side.
If you're in pain, have the pain, but don't suffer.
Dive in, feel it.
Yeah, feel it, then move on, and then go talk to God, however God shows up to you. Whether it's in the trees or an animal or a friend, especially a friend. Like I've got a few mates that I turn to, men in my life. I'm very grateful that long-term friendships that if I'm hurting or something, I'll go talk to them. I've got a wife I can talk to, and especially I believe, and this is an aside, but men need men. Women are really good at that for the most part, finding other women to process stuff. But what men are a little more reticent to do that. But I've done a lot of men's meetings, groups, etc. And I want to encourage men, reach out to a brother. You're having trouble, reach out to a brother. They inspire me. They help me remember where I'm pointing. Remember my heart. Remember to be open to it. Remember love. Remember gratitude. All those things we've taught over the years when we're in this arena. Other people help us remember. The trees help us remember. The spirit animals that visit us with messages help us remember.
Beautiful. I would love to finish on 2013. Because this is probably by the time this video is online, it'll be end of 2012, maybe 21st of December. We'll have already maybe this video. No, kidding, but who knows what's going to happen. But let's talk about 2013. How does it feel?
2013, I feel I would say very positive about 2013. I think what's dangerous is, and we'll see it in the media, like there's been talk about this fiscal cliff. Like, what a dramatic way to say this. Maybe it gets our attention, but what it does is enough people are nervous and feeling some fear that I believe, have to counteract that by not buying into the fear that something weird is going to happen. We're in a process of massive change. Look around. talk to people. Of course we are, you know. And I think a lot of people are like holding their breath, you know, in fear of, God, what's 2013 going to bring? It's going to bring a lot of changes, but it's already happening. We're in process. I don't think there's some dramatic event that happened on December 21st or will happen from where we're doing this interview now. But I do believe that what's going to come, what's emerging, what's going to come is more heart opening, that we're going to bond together much more effectively. That, again, part of my mission certainly is that we're going to appreciate the world that much more and not be afraid of the world. It's not a scary place. You know, you don't have to go out, you don't have to box yourself in. And the changes that are coming, there's dramatic, the storms, etc., they're increasing, etc. Of course, there's a lot of that going to be going on. And who knows what else may be going on. Massive changes, but it's all part of this, what's been called the shift. You know, there's a shift that's going on in human consciousness, and part of that shift, as I said to you earlier, I said it's not an ascension, it's about descending, about developing a relationship, a different sort of relationship with the natural world than the way it's been. It's been one that we dominate and we extract from and we pull from and we use for our purpose. But what about 3 generations from now? What about 7 generations from now? You know, we have to start caring for the world in a different way and relating to the world. As I said to you earlier, it's not about saving the planet. The planet doesn't need saving. You know, the planet's been around 4.5 billion years. 4.5 billion, I can't even get my head around that. And it's going to be around for at least another 4.5 billion years. We just need to know how to live with the planet.
With its changes.
Natural world, yes.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Stephen.
My pleasure, Lilo. Thank you. You're a gracious interview and a gracious host.
Thank you. In this beautiful place, how easy. Much love, my delicious co-creators. We send you many blessings. We love you. Thank you for sharing those delicious videos. See you very soon. 2013 is here. Bye.